So, next up on our cycles tour is the beginning of what we call biogeochemical cycles. Still T4C, diagram abiotic cycles. This cycle we're going to talk about is our carbon cycle. Okay. Um, so, review of vocab. Abiotic means non-living. Water, air, rock, soil. Biotic is living. Animals, plants, any other living organism. All right. I know you've had to write these or fill in these blanks on your notes the last couple of times, but it's just really important. Vocab is really important in science, and so I just wanted to make sure that we are still understanding what the difference between abiotic and biotic is. Um, Once again, anything red, bold, underline is what you're filling in on your notes page. So it should be pretty easy to follow along on your notes handout. Okay, so nutrient cycling. Different matter is going to cycle through our environment. Matter can be transformed, so it can be changed from one form to another, but it cannot be created or destroyed. And then nutrients are matter that organisms require for life processes. Just like us, we require certain nutrients for our processes within our body systems. So it's circulating throughout the environment and in these biogeochemical cycles. Okay, so we're going to start talking about carbon first. Okay, so I know this looks pretty intimidating, but I'm going to show you a simpler image on the next slide. I just kind of wanted to go over this at the beginning. So the way carbon kind of cycles, um, there's this is a little insert of what's happening kind of like in the ocean. It also can kind of it's also happening on land. So carbon is being cycled through photosynthesis for plants, cellular respiration for plants and animals. And remember, our producers are what kind of create their own energy. Consumers have to consume or eat an organism to get their energy. And if they're not consumed, they can become decomposers. So like that bacteria that helps break down any organic matter. Okay, so this is kind of a good indicator of one of those cycling images. So it's just it's continuous. It's continuously happening. So this is like an inset of what's happening here. And then here is kind of a global or a bigger picture of carbon cycling through the environment. All right, so you have photosynthesis happening with the trees, cellular respirations happening with these animals over here. All right, so these are our consumers. They can start decomposing after they die, return back to the soil, okay, and then it kind of starts that cycle again. We also have carbon and sedimentary rock, okay. So if you remember, limestone is a type of sedimentary rock. So limestone is actually going to be our largest source of carbon because when organisms die in the water, their remains can settle in that sediment and that sedimentary rock, and it can create this giant source of carbon or reservoir of carbon. Okay, so that sedimentary rock is releasing its carbon back in the atmosphere through volcanoes, other geological processes. Okay, it's also can be stored, carbon is stored as fossil fuels. So, one fossil fuel that like if we mine it, that's our human source of carbon, and then if we burn that fossil fuel, we're releasing that carbon dioxide back into the atmosphere. And then I want to go back and kind of review the process of photosynthesis and cell respiration. So remember, for photosynthesis, organisms are taking in water, sunlight, and carbon dioxide. That's why plants are actually really important, because they take in that carbon dioxide for their process to create their own glucose, and they actually release oxygen. Okay, so glucose is that C6H12O6, and they release oxygen back into the atmosphere for us. Cellular respiration is kind of the opposite of that. So for cellular respiration, humans go through that process. We take in oxygen, we take in our source of glucose, and we're creating, we exhale carbon dioxide, release a little bit of water, and create our energy, which is ATP. So another source of carbon is carbon found in the ocean, and this is going to be our second largest carbon reservoir or kind of storage. So remember the first is limestone, second is going to be our oceans. They're getting carbon from the atmosphere, from runoff. Okay, so that's kind of what you see on these arrows here, weathering. Okay, so that's how carbon is kind of being stored here. Cool. So let's go to the next slide. So this is the part on your notes we're going to kind of fill in certain, I'm going to fill in these blanks. This is a more simple diagram that we can follow. Okay, so first off, plants and producers are taking in carbon dioxide for photosynthesis, making that glucose, that C6H12O6. Okay, and then these organs are taking in carbon when they eat those plants. Okay, organisms are going to release carbon dioxide from cellular respiration to make their energy, so that glucose. Okay, and then decomposition releases carbon dioxide back into the atmosphere. So whenever an organism dies, it starts being decomposed, breaking down. Bodies of organisms that are not decomposed become part of what we call fossil fuel deposits, or oil, coal, gas. And then it's going to be in that lithosphere that you learned in the first section. Humans are using these fossil fuels for energy, heat, and gas. So that's why we rely on fossil fuels for our energy, heat, and gas. And then combustion is releasing that carbon dioxide back into the atmosphere. So you can kind of see this cyclical pattern for the carbon cycle. And remember to fill in these red vocab words on your notes. All right, so human impacts. So fossil fuels, extraction is removing carbon from our lithosphere, and then burning those fossil fuels is releasing carbon dioxide back into the atmosphere. Okay. Forest cutting and burning, releasing carbon storage from plants back into the atmosphere, and it's reducing plants available to use that carbon dioxide. Remember, because plants take in carbon dioxide for photosynthesis. If we are clearing out a large section of that, it's hard for that excess carbon dioxide to be used. Producers cannot absorb enough carbon dioxide to keep up with our human activities. Okay, so it's kind of like a combination effect. We are producing more. If we're taking out plants or taking away plants, we just don't have enough and they can't keep up. And then carbon dioxide in the atmosphere is a major cause of climate change. Okay, so we're going to talk about climate change this class also, but that's kind of a big picture idea. Okay, so make sure you filled in all of your notes and don't forget to submit them.